Hi guys, I hope that you guys are doing fine. I hope that you're all doing okay. Today we'll be having planning and organizing writing. I will share my screen. So first you log in using the aplusstudent.com, then you click on your name, language art, and we will get our advanced writing from grade 8. So grade 8, and we will move on to planning and organizing. So we have two lessons that we will complete. First is the determine the main idea. Okay. So first of all, we need to note what the main idea of the passage is, because in this lesson we will have to determine the main ideas. So a main idea is the most important idea or claim that a text communicates. The detail is a text supports, prove, or illustrates the main idea. Okay, so like I said, the main idea is the most important idea or claim that a text communicates. Okay, so it's like the most important. We need to note the main idea. If we do not have the main idea in the text, then that isn't okay, because it's just like, oh, something is missing. So you need to understand the main idea. The details in a text supports, prove, or illustrates the main idea. So all the details that you can get in the text, the it supports or it proves or illustrates the main idea. So it helps you figure out which one is the main idea. Now the main idea of the passage. Okay, so in general, all these that we are talking about is just you figuring out the main idea. When you are having your writing, or yes, you have to do writing, you need to note the main idea in the text. If you read it, you have to figure out, oh, which one is the main idea. So it's very necessary for you to note that. Okay. So we will just move on to like the questions. So in all of the above, we will just have to figure out what is the main idea in this text. So that's what we have to figure out. So it says, read the passage below. What is beneath your plane? As Shane Liufa, a geology student at the University of Minnesota, was flying home from Europe, he looked down at the landscape and began to wonder what what he was flying over. He realized that a plane flight would be a good opportunity for people to learn about the geological features of the earth below them. As a result of this experience, with a grant from the National Science Foundation, he created a free app called Fly Over Country. The app provides users with information on natural formations, man made features like dams, and even where fossils can be found. The features are pinpointed on a map that correspond to the landscape below the plane. So, this is just a basic explanation of the question. So, now you would have to figure out the main idea. What is the main idea? You know that, like I've said, You need all the other information, all the other details, so that you can note which one is the main idea. So if you scroll down here, the main idea is Shane Luffaler experience in a plane led him to create an app that would provide information to flyers about the land below him. So it was because of his flight experience that he created the app. Note the phrase as a result. It suggests that the main idea involves a cause and effect. So there was a cause and then effects. Here, the main idea is that Shane's desire to know about the landscape below his plane caused him to create an app for Flyer. The title also suggests this. So, because of his curiosity, he was very curious after he flew on his own plane and he wanted to know what was happening under. Which led him, to go into creating his own. Okay, app that could help people note all of that. So that's just it about this. You have to make sure that you note the most important thing is that you figure out the main idea, what led to that. So it's like a cause and an effect. So there's the cause, there's the effect as well. So carrots contain high amount of vitamin A and are good for general eye health. However, carrots will not improve night vision. That myth goes back to British propaganda during the World War II in 1940. The German Luftwaffe or Air Force began bombing Britain at night. In response, the British government ordered people to turn off their lights. The government wanted to make it difficult for German pilots to hit their target. A new technology radar allowed the British Air Force to track and shoot down the German planes without light. To keep the technology secret, the government told the media that their pilot could see the German planes because they consumed so many carrots. Consequently, people began to believe that eating carrot would help them see better in the dark. So now, what is the main idea here? Okay, so the main idea of this passage is because of a British media campaign. So people thought that eating carrots would improve their night vision. So that's like the main idea. People did that because they thought that their night vision would get better. Notice the word consequently. It suggests that the main idea involves a cause and its effect. Here, the main idea is that the British propaganda caused people to mistakenly believe that eating carrots would improve their ability to see in the dark. The title also suggests that. So it's just like saying the summary of all this was that because of the situation, people thought that if they would eat carrots, then it's gonna improve their eyesight. So we also have this read the passage fruits or veggies. So this one is asking whether it's fruit or vegetables. According to botanists who study and classify plants, a fruit is the part of a plant that contains seed. By this definition, not only melons and plums, but zucchinis, green beans, and tomatoes are all fruits. In fact, based on this definition, any vegetable with seed could be classified as a fruit. In contrast, nutritionists who study diets reserve the term fruit only for sweet, fleshy fruit, using vegetable for those that are low in fructose or fruit sugar. Vegetables are usually eaten as part of a meal, while fruits are often eaten as a snack or dessert. Now, nutritionists argue that although tomatoes may be fruits from a botanical perspective, they aren't eaten the way typical fruits are. So they are vegetables. Depending on who you ask, a tomato can be considered a fruit, a vegetable, or both. So now, what is the main idea? The main idea is that the botanists considered parts will all plant parts with seeds to be fruits, but nutritionists consider many of them to be vegetables. So that means the botanists said that, oh, all the plants that have seeds are fruits, but then nutritionists said no, consider them vegetables. Some details are about botanists' views of fruit, other details are about nutritionists' views. This subjects that the main idea involved the contrast between the two views. The phrase is contrast, and the title also suggests this. So, solution: tomatoes are scientifically classified as fruits, but they are not served the way other fruits are. So, basically, that's it, like about the main idea. You need to be able to read these and figure out what the main idea is. You have to be careful, read it carefully, and then you would see if you could figure out the main idea from the test. Okay, so we'll move on to the test. So it says that you should read the passage below about human activity and earthquakes. So when Americans think of earthquake, they tend to think of California, a state known for its frequent seismic activity. In recent years, however, people in Arkansas, Colorado, Kansas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Texas have been feeling the ground shake more often. An increase in oil and gas dripping in these states has led to human-induced earthquake. Those results from human activity. When wastewater is disposed of during gas and oil drilling, the water is forced deep underground. The resulting build-up of pressure can cause fault lines, cracks in the Earth's crust to shift. According to Mark Peterson, head of the U.S. Geological Survey Earthquake Hazard Mapping Project, in the past 5 years, the USGS has documented high shaking and damage in areas of these 6 states, mostly from induced earthquake. What is the main idea? So, it is said here that an increase in oil and gas drilling has caused a corresponding increase in earthquakes in 6 states. So that's like the major idea of this. So we also have the Pony Express. The Pony Express, in total, like the general reading of this, it shows that the main idea is the Pony Express allowed for faster communication in rapidly growing United States. So this was the one that we read in our tutorials about Shane and his experiments. Then we have the first newspaper war. The Crimean War was fought in 1850s between Russia on one side and Britain, France, and Turkey on the other. Although it was a major conflict, it is perhaps best remembered as the first war in which journalists were present on the battlefield. News dispatches from William Howard Russell, a reporter for the Times of London, exposed military blunders and revealed the filthy conditions that existed in military hospitals and camps. Photographers such as James Robertson and Roger Fenton made hundreds of photographs of soldiers on the battlefield. These news reports and photographs provided an uncensored look at life on the front line. The Crimean War marked the first time in history that people back home were exposed to the horrors of war. What is the main idea? So it says that the main idea is that the Crimean War was fought between the Russian and the British, French, and Turkish. So we have saving sea turtles, and then it shows that the main idea was that conservation biologists are researching ways to save the threatened sea turtle population. So that means sea turtles are threatened, so they're trying to find a way to help the sea turtles. So it says to stand or not to stand. In in 2016, Valencito Elementary School in San Raf, California. So in San Rafael, California, became the first U.S. school to replace all of its ordinary desks with raised desks that students stand at. Speaking to a reporter from Time for Kids magazine, one student at the school gave the standing desks high praise. You feel happier, you're less tired, and you're more active. She said, according to several studies, children working at standing desks burn more calories and are more focused on tasks. However, some teachers and parents are opposed to the change. They are concerned that standing for long periods of time could cause fatigue, strain on the legs and feet, or posture problem. In addition, standing desks are more expensive than seated desks. Only time will tell whether standing decks will be proved to be the next big trend or failed experiment. What is the main idea? So the main idea is some people say that standing decks promotes good study habits, but others are worried about the new decks. That's true because you can never tell is it good or is it bad. So so that's it for this one. In general, this lesson you just have to make sure that you read the text. There's a huge passage for you to read. And after reading the passage, you can just see the main idea is already highlighted for you. So you have to make sure that you read the main idea and then you know what the text is all about. Okay, so that if ever you have to do any passage writing or anything in school, you can figure it out. So that's it for the first lesson. You can ask me some question. I give you some time. Just think and then look at it. If you have any questions, ask me before we move on to the next lesson. So do you have any questions? You can ask. So you can ask if you have any question. If you have any questions, you can ask. Let's see. Okay, so we'll move on to the next lesson since you guys have no questions. So identify text structures. So authors use different text structures to organize their ideas in writing. Learning to identify these structures will help you to understand the relationship between ideas in informational text. So authors have different structures that they use when they write. So you have to be able to understand the structure so that you can understand the text better. You can also use these structures to organize your own writing. So let's say that you have a writing topic from maybe an author's written text or something. So you have to be able to figure out the textures, the structures. Okay, so if you get the structures, then you can organize your own writing and have your own writing in a good way. So first we have the a cause effect structure present the cause and the effect of a particular event, trend, or situation. So if we having the cause effect structure, it's like, oh, you have the cause and then you have the effect. So because of this happened. This structure often use words and phrases such as because, since, as a result, due to, or consequently. So once you see any of these words, you know that it's usually like cause and effect. A compare contrast structure presents similarities, comparisons, and differences, contrasts between two or more things. The structure often uses words and phrases such as similarly or in the same way for comparing, or on the other hand, in contrast or unlike for contrasting. So these are like the basic things that you need to know for the compare contrast, okay? And then for a problem solution presents a problem and suggests one or more possible solution. This structure often use words as such as issue, question, puzzle, purpose, and answer. So for problem solution, it presents you with some problem and suggests one or more possible solution to that. A sequential structure describes a series of or events that happen in a certain order. The structure often uses specific dates and time or words such as first, next, during, finally, and while. Okay? So you just need to note all of this. This is very important for you when you have to read a text or have to do your own writing. So all these are like very necessary for you to note them. So we have read the text below. Traveling from state to state, especially if you're in a car, you may notice that the price of gasoline varies wildly. Many factors combine to determine the price that a gas station charges. Gasoline from is refined from crude oil. So if the price of crude oil increases, then gasoline price also rise. The price of gas also depends upon the tax that the individual state charges. The higher the tax that are imposed on gasoline, the higher the cost of gas becomes. In addition, during the summer, more people want to drive, so the demand for gas is higher. Higher demand pushes prices higher. In winter, when fewer people drive, low demand sends price lower. So, if you want to organize this structure, you can see that it's probably like the cause and effect. So in fact, using the cause and effect. So you can see that as a result of summer, this happens. As a result of winter, this happens. So it is problem solution. So it brings a problem, and then it gives you a way to solve it. So we have when the Apollo 13 mission took off, its goal was to land on the moon. However, before it reached the moon, and on board, oxygen tanks exploded, damaging the spacecraft and reducing its power. The astronauts faced a life-threatening situation. NASA quickly developed an emergency plan. The three astronauts climbed into the lunar landing module on board the spacecraft. Though initially intended to keep two men alive while landing on the moon, the lunar module would now help all three return home. The astronauts rerouted their ship to slingshot around the moon, using the moon's gravity to propel them back to Earth. They survived to land They survive to land safely back in the ocean. So let's see. This is problem solution. No, so this is compare and contrast. In the text, the phrase life threatening situation and emergency plan help to organize ideas in a problem solution. So this is about comparing and then a contrast to it. So yeah. Okay. Now this next one is almost everyone knows what stress feels like. Almost everyone knows what stress feels like. A tight throat, a clenched jaw, trouble concentrating on a physical level whenever your body perceives a threat in the nearby environment. Whether that threat is a friend with whom you've had an argument or a lion on the savannah, it releases more of certain hormones, such as cortisol and adrenaline. As a result of the increase in these hormones, the body devotes less attention to functioning like digestion and more attention to keeping muscles in a state of tension, ready to fight if they need to. So let's go down and see what this is. So this is a cause and effect, yeah. So if there's a reason, then there's a cause and then there's an effect. So due to this happens. Okay. So we will move on to the text. But before that, you can ask me any questions. Do you have any question before we move to the test? I give you some time and you can ask me those questions if you have any. Do you have any questions? So you can ask any questions if you have them. Do you have any question? Do you have any questions? You can ask me if you have any question. Okay, so we can move on to the test since you have no questions. So this one is about you may have heard that eating an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Perhaps that's not strictly true, but it is correct that including fruits in your diet can result in better overall health because it is so full of vitamins and nutrients. Eating plenty of fruits can help reduce the risk of heart attack, stroke, and even some type of cancer. Many fruits include bananas and melons are also particularly rich in potassium, which may be helpful in lowering blood pressure. Additionally, the fiber in fruits can help combat type 2 diabetes and obesity. So, which organized structure does this text primarily use? It's compare and contrast. So, it uses the compare and the contrast. It's comparing like different fruits and then giving you like the importance as well. So, then this is about the King Henryville, and then we can see that it was a problem solution. People have different learning styles, and it can be helpful to understand your own. For example, if you're a virtual learner who acquire knowledge most easily by reading or seeing, the best study method for you may be using flashcards, writing things down, or color coding information to remember it more easily. On the other hand, if you are an where is it? Okay. On the other hand, if you're an auditory learner, you tend to learn best by hearing and listening. If that's the case, you may study more effectively by reading new materials aloud or making someone else read stories, directions, assignments, or questions to you. So this one is what? Sequential. So this is about the sequential. Okay. So basically, that's it for like the identify text structures. This is how you identify the structures. You can just leave some questions on the chat if you have them, and I will answer you. But you can as well just finish this test. If you do not understand, you can read again from the beginning, and believe me, you would understand better. So that's it for this vlog. This lesson today, guys. Do have a great night and see you guys next time.